All right. Hopefully that we're going live. We are live. What's up, everybody? Tim Conley here, and we are live to talk about challenging ourselves. This is going to be a great one. Hopefully I can entertain you and educate you, and we just all have a great time here on this Friday. And from a few that are checking in from Australia, having a great Saturday morning. So great to have everybody here. Seeing I've already got a like. If you like the channel, go ahead and hit a like. Let's get that algorithm kicking. Gotta get that all going. And let's see, Randall Neeson, what's up, brother? Thank you for coming. Randall pops in and comments on Facebook. Like I only ever check Facebook just so I can find out if Randall's hit me with a comment or a question. So, Randall, you got to come back to the channel and comment on my videos, because that's where I live, is here. Facebook just drives me crazy. But I will mention that I'm about to reopen my Facebook group. I shut it down at the beginning of this year, and I was going to do some renovation on it. And I've just decided to revamp the entire thing. And we're going to open that up because it's going to be a big part of this 100-day challenge that I'm about to put myself through. So just going to crawl over here to the comments and see what's going on. See who we got here. Sven, Facebook is the colon of the internet, but there is some good stuff to be taken advantage of. Yeah, it is. I used to use Facebook. I've seldom ever used it for marketing. I had my Facebook group for a long time. It used to be named The Forge, and I used it as like a private blog. I had at one point like 800 and something people in there, and then I purged a whole bunch. But I had like 800 and something people, so I could share my ideas, see how they resonated, and then rewrite them and reuse them for other content. And that's all I ever really used it for. And then communicating with family and friends. I don't use it to communicate with family and friends anymore. And I don't follow all the people that I'm actually friended with. And if you send me a friend request, I might accept it, probably won't. But even then, I'm not going to follow you, so I won't ever see any of your content. Facebook just drives me crazy as a personal use, but as for marketing, it's a pretty good platform to use. So I'll get back to that. Let's see. Yes, and Randall kicking in. LOL. Yes, indeed. Excited to see and be a part of the journey. 100 days. Right. So I don't know if this will come through. Hey Siri, how many days until January 24?
It's 107 days until then.
All right. Siri tells me it is 107 days until my birthday. So that gives me 1 week to nail down what my 100-day challenge is going to be. And I've got an idea. I'm going to share that idea with you, with all y'all. And I really want to challenge you to kind of follow along, be a part of it. Finish this year super strong and kick off the new year, because we got to put 2020 in the bag. We were all excited. My daughter was like, oh, it's going to be the roaring 20s, back in 2019, and she was going to turn 20 in 2020, and it was just going to be amazing. And then it was the worst roar that a year could ever have. So we got to put that in the bag. So let's end the year really strong. Let's kick off the new one really strong. And here's the thing. I'm going to turn 50 in 107 days. I will be a 50-year-old dude, which I really cannot believe has ever happened. Like, I did not think that this day would ever come. And not because I thought I'd be dead or anything, just because I never thought I'd get old. And, I don't feel it. Sure, I got all this white going on my face, but even that, I don't feel the age that I look. Like, I don't feel it. I try to stay in shape. I try to eat right. with some Oreos thrown in there once in well a lot, eating a lot of Oreos. But I try to do things that keep me growing. And I want to have a much bigger future. I want my next 50 years to be far bigger and far better than the 50 that I've just gone through. And I want you to do the same. I want your future to be bigger and bigger than it was the day before and the day before that. I really want you to have that. And that's why we're going to kind of deviate from agency talk, because I talk about a lot of stuff off of this channel that's not just directly related to agency stuff. It's about leadership, about success, about taking care of oneself and your family, your friends, and your community. Those are the things that I really care about. And we're going to spend a lot more time coming up. And I got told by my video editor, because I haven't been shooting any videos. If you notice on my channel, this is my third live in a month, and I haven't actually made a video in a while. But we were talking about we're going to kick off season 3 for this channel coming up, and that's going to be awesome. So this live stream is like the preliminary to season 3. Like what would they call it? It's not a premiere, but we're hinting at it, teaser for it. And the challenge is going to be a big part of the beginning of season 3, going into my 3rd year of doing this channel. So wow, I can't believe I'm even saying that. 3rd year, so crazy. So I'm going to come back over here to the comments, and if you're watching, hit me with comments, hit me with questions, because we'll definitely do that. I want this to be an interactive environment, and then I will actually talk about the challenge. So stick with me. So let's see what's going on over here in the chat. I actually put it over here. I had it chat here, moved it here. I don't know if that makes it better. Let me know in the comments. Do you want me always looking directly into the camera, or do you mind if I turn my head every once in a while and engage with all y'all? Or do you find it better that I just stay looking into the camera and answer comments while facing here? Go ahead, hit me in the comments, because I'm going to look at them. All right. Hey, everybody. Let's see. Sfarron, how did you attract that initial group? Well, kind of funny. At one point in my life, I had a very popular podcast. It was a hobby, and I shut it down. But after that hobby, after I shut down that podcast called The Foolish Adventure Show, you can still find it on Spotify. Unless they censor it, like Joe Rogan or something. I'm just kidding. They ain't going to censor Foolish Adventure. But you can go on there and check that out. That podcast at one point had like 1 million people listen to it. So it was pretty popular. And then I just got bored with it. So I stopped doing that. But I had this audience that just kind of followed me. It's been 6 years since the last time I did 6, maybe 7 years or something like that, that I did a video, I did a podcast for that show, and it just kind of carried over. So when I decided I wanted to blog down my ideas, I didn't want to do it in public, like just putting out a blog and trying to build a blog. I didn't want another hobby out in the public world. So I just said to my friends, hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to come and be a part of it? And you're going to get all my crazy ideas, and I'm going to just start sharing them. And I had, like, I don't know, a couple hundred people sign up to be in that group immediately. And then after that, it just kept growing because they kept telling people to come join it. And then, had like 800 and something people just participating in the ideas that I was sharing with the world. Then it just outlived its usefulness to me. So that's I'm not going to tell you like I have some great idea of how to get people into a group, because, well, they just followed me from all the things I've done in my past, which actually is a lesson unto itself, is that you need to build up a body of work, not just an audience, but a body of work. that people will follow you through your career. The things that you change into, the growth that you go through, they will grow with you. And that's important to be able to showcase that body of work, and the people that will engage with it will continue to follow you along throughout your career. So that I hope was helpful. All right, let's see. Tim just revealed Oreos is a secret to never looking old. Yeah, I don't know about that, because I have to do a lot of working out to overcome my Oreo addiction. And funny thing is, I literally just had Oreos like an hour ago. So no, do not eat those. And so one part of my challenge is that I'm thinking about logging down and committing to. I haven't committed to it yet, but because I got 7 more days, is no added sugar. I know. Oh my gosh, that scares me. That scares me. No added sugar. Which means Oreos, they're just going to have to go away, at least for 100 days. So, okay, here we go. Let's see. Randall says, always look in the camera and never turn your head, and no blinking. LOL. As you can see, I don't have that level of attention. Like my whole ADD, and I'm not one of those people who has fake ADD. Like, I've been hyperactive since I was a child. Keeping attention really hard to do. Probably should keep comments over here just so that I don't go nuts like I normally am. All right, here we go. And thank you for saying congrats on 3rd year. We haven't gotten to the 3rd year yet, well, but pretty soon in November, I think we are truly into year 3 from the time that I officially kicked off this channel. I had a couple of videos that I did before that. I was using my YouTube channel to store some old videos for a while. I think I've made all those private. But then I was on Miles Beckler's show. And if you haven't been over to Miles's channel, go check it out. /Miles B. Miles, great. He's was pressuring me or cajoling me to start a YouTube channel for a couple of years. And then I finally said, okay, I'll give this thing a shot. And then I went on to his channel, and we kicked off my channel from his. So that puts us at, I think that was in November a couple of years ago. So that's when the anniversary is, somewhere in there. Let's see. Rob McDonald, how do you get the right mindset to handle imposter syndrome even after 20 years? Well, here's some armchair psychology. I've studied psychology a bit. I'm more of a, like I said, armchair psychologist than actual serious study. Mostly because I found that the stuff that I studied in psychology didn't actually match up with how people behaved in the real world, or at least observationally. Maybe through surveys or something they show that, but it didn't really work out when I looked at how people behave. And I think that's why I became a marketer, was looking at the way people behave and thinking, oh, I know this is going to sound dumb or maybe a little crass, but I was like, I could use that for my benefit. And, I guess because I was young and at the time money hungry and really wanted to build something up. But I realized that the trauma that I had as a child, and I'm going to use trauma in 2 different definitions. One of like real trauma, and then the other is the kind that children invent. They invent trauma, and that's usually where something happens that the adults around them, the important people in their lives, treat them in a certain way, and they internalize it, not as the way it happened, but as the way it made them feel. And so that feeling becomes part of their personality. A lot of us at a very young age are taught that we don't know anything. And we are taught that we have to listen to other people. We have to do all these other things. So that puts us in a position of growing up and internalizing imposter syndrome. And it gets wired in. You get this wired in when you're under 7 years old, and it's, I would say, impossible to remove. You can alleviate some of the effects of it as an adult, but I don't think it ever goes away, because I've done massive amounts of work on me, and I'm always doing more. And one of my goals going forward is also working on self, not just fitness and health and wealth, but also internally. And the thing is if you've got imposter syndrome, you've got to identify it. You've got to understand when it is, like when you're feeling it, and write it down, and then counter it with all the things you've done in your life that prove you're not an imposter. So it's like you have this feeling and it triggers something really old in you. Well, at least for me, it's really old. Some of you young people watching, it may not be such an old feeling, but it triggers something, that inadequacy, that insecurity, and you've got to highlight it. You've got to bring it out. You can't just let it, percolate in your head. You've got to bring it out in front of you, and then counter it with other examples in your life of where you succeeded. And here's the thing, the brain's funny this way. It doesn't have to be, I succeeded at this kind of thing multiple times. Just success of any kind. Well, I learned how to ride a bike, even though the insecurity is about something else. I learned how to do this other thing. I mastered this thing, and I achieved this thing. And you can use that to show that you are capable of more than what that self-talk tells you. And I still feel imposter syndrome all the time. Like every time I sit down and turn on the camera and I'm talking to all y'all and trying to give you advice and help you grow, my own imposter syndrome kicks in. Like, oh, you shouldn't really be talking about this. And if you notice, a lot of things that I truly am passionate about that I'm not even close to being an expert on, I don't talk about on my channel. I get some of it into these live streams, but most of the time I don't cover it, because the fact that it's like, well, I'm not that guy, so maybe I shouldn't share. Maybe I shouldn't. And that's part of why I want to do this 100-day challenge and do so publicly, because I don't do public goal setting. I don't do that kind of stuff. But I wanted to participate with the community. And actually, one of my growth challenges is to get over that feeling of being an imposter by learning with you, learning alongside you, as opposed to simply just being a teacher about the things that I already know well. Like, I want to be a student again. Which I'm always am, but I want to be a student with everyone, and not be a teacher here and then a student over here. I want a more whole life approach. So Rob probably doesn't answer your question, but hopefully it was helpful. It is something that I do care a lot about. Let's see. Sven, that is a good lesson. Personal brand and building an audience regarding the Facebook group audience. Yeah, having, and this goes back to what I was talking about, of having a body of work and people following you along, so they can always see your progression. And let's see. And then off-road wheel financing, Raven Master. That is a handle like nobody's business. Any advice on fighting resistance? We're going to kind of get into some of that when I start talking about the 100-day challenge. But resistance doesn't go away. There is that great book, and this is probably why you use the word resistance, by, oh gosh, it's been so many years since I read it. Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art. And that one really goes into resistance. A lot of resistance is simply needing discipline, the frameworks that you need. Willpower, we're all weak. We're all weak, but we can set up an environment of discipline, an environment of structure that allow us, that when we face resistance, that we are able to overcome it without needing significant amounts of willpower. So like if I don't want to eat Oreos, guess what? I just don't buy them, and then I won't eat them. Like that's setting up the environment necessary. But you put them in the pantry, and I'm gonna tap into a whole, not a whole roll, but a significant number inside that package. So it's part of being able to overcome resistance is having a structure that makes resistance weaker. Instead of needing stronger willpower, we make resistance weaker. We set up all the structures to block it. So this could be, you want to write, you want to sit down and write something, or you want to shoot video. One of the reasons I haven't been shooting videos, my house is under construction, has been for like 2 months, and I don't have a studio. This office, which, this room used to be my office, and I had cameras set up, lights were set up. All I had to do is turn stuff on, and I could sit down and record. That was my environment, because I'm not a video guy. I'm not a videographer. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not Peter McKinnon by any standpoint. And I needed to set up an environment that made it easy to just push the button and start recording. And then because I ramble all over the place, even when I have my notes, even when I have all that stuff, I'll go all over the place. I hired an editor to make sure that I still sounded like I had a coherent thought in my head. So you focus on the environment around you before you focus on willpower. And that is one of the best ways of dealing with resistance that I've found in my life. All right, here we go. Sferin, so we all have Miles Beckler to thank. Yeah, Miles really did talk to me a lot about starting a YouTube channel. I didn't think I should do it. And I didn't for a while, like 2 years of him saying, "Hey, you should do that. You should do that." And then finally I succumbed, and now here I am, sort of addicted to doing this. All right. What kind of notebook is that? It looks like a handy one. Let's see. What is the brand name? I don't know. My daughter bought me a stack of these, mostly because I have a penchant for matte black everything. I know I put on blue. Normally I have like a black shirt on every day, but I put on blue because I've got this dark gray background. But I've got a matte black coffee mug, matte black, pretty much everything. And she found these and bought me a massive stack of them. And it's just paper, so it's not like a Moleskine. I have some of those too, but this one I really like because I can just really trash it, and I've got a bunch of these all over the place. And I don't know where my daughter found these, and there is literally no branding on it, which makes it awesome. Oh, I am an idiot. Yes, there is. And I said it wasn't Moleskine. Yes, it is. I don't think you'll be able to see that. There it is. Come on, zoom. No, it's staying on my face. But yeah, it is Moleskine. So I'm an idiot. There you go. You get to see how much of an idiot I really am. But I love that because there's like, the branding was so easy to miss. I love that kind of stuff in a product. So, all right. So that's what I got. So you go onto their site, maybe on Amazon, find it. If you're into matte black everything like I am, then do that. I even got I don't know if I'll show it, mess it all up. Here we go. My Yeti had to go with black. I had to do it. Had to go with the black Yeti. So yeah, it's funny. All right. So now Sverren's right. Yeah, let's get into this 100-day challenge. 100-day challenge. Since I am coming up to, I have 107 days, as Siri said, I have 107 days until I turn 50. And I want to make sure that I have a bigger future than I had in the previous 50 years. So I'm setting up 100 days where I'm going to work on specific goals every day for 100 days. And I'm a huge fan of Benjamin Franklin. Old Ben, he was the quintessential American. Was a poor kid, ran away from home, learned a valuable skill in the printing world, and then grew from that skill to being wealthy, to being a scientist, to being one of the world's greatest statesmen. He is truly the embodiment of what America has always meant to be, where you can start off wherever you're at in life and achieve the level of success. So he had a phrase, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? So I'm going to focus on three things: on my health, which I do a fair bit of, but I want to step up my game. So I'm going to work on my health. I'm going to work on my wealth, and I'm going to work on my wisdom. And so here's the basics that I want to accomplish, and then we'll get into how we go about making these decisions so that you can do the same thing, or in a similar way of making decisions like I did, and then you can decide what are you going to accomplish in the next 100 days. So health. One of the things that I'm thinking about is because I'm getting older, I need to focus on mobility. So I'm going to find a mobility program and add that into my fitness regimen. And the one that I mentioned earlier is I'm probably going to remove added sugar out of my life for 100 days. That one scares me because I have a feeling like I'm going to fail on that one at least some point in there. Because the holidays are coming up, and I'll be like, hey, can I have some of that really good stuff for Thanksgiving? And, but just no sugar in it. Like, who does that? Who does something like that? That's insane. Okay. So yeah, that's coming up. That means also no Christmas cookies. Can't eat any of those. Maybe I'm going to rethink that one. But I need to stay with my strength exercises. So I need to continue working out with strength exercises, but I want to add the mobility. So there's my health. My wealth, that one's kind of an easy one. I want to relaunch my coaching program. And so it's 100 days. So how about I achieve $100,000 in collected revenue in 100 days. So that would be about, I don't know, maybe 20 students, somewhere around there, where I get 20 students into my coaching program again, where we go through and build their agencies in the course of 12 weeks, in 90 days. So, but they won't be through the program by the time I turn 50, but they'll be in the program at that time. So hopefully then maybe if all the whole Rona stuff starts to die down in January, that I can have a live event and bring all the students together, for my birthday, or at least around my birthday, and we can all celebrate and celebrate the challenge that we've done together. So that would be kind of fun. Going to open up my Facebook group to help this along. And then on wisdom, one of the things that I've really struggled with for a very long time is I used to be an aspiring artist, and I quit and became an aspiring designer and became a paid designer, and then stopped designing, mostly because I lost my joy of self-expression. And so I'm not sure what form of creative self-expression I'm going to move forward with, but I have an idea. I think because I have a iPad Pro that I got recently, and I think I'm going to get Procreate and start with a course on how to do Procreate, and then draw every day for 100 days. That's what I'm thinking. At first, I was like, I'm going to do videography, like learn how to shoot uh, B-roll and do all this cool stuff. But I realized the reason I was wanting to do that was for work, was to make this channel awesome. And it wasn't so much about self-expression, because I would be making something that was to be educational, maybe a little entertaining, but I wasn't focused on just simply creating from what's inside. And so that one really scares me, like actually doing something that's not work related, that's just for the pure enjoyment of developing a skill that no one's ever going to care about. Like that's weird. Like, because I've just worked really hard for my life, and to just say, I'm just gonna make art just for the fun of it. Yeah. So that those are my three things for my health, my wealth, and my wisdom that I want to work on. And are there things in your life, like you're like, hey, I want to do something with my health. Like I want this out of to be better. Like for me, I need better mobility. Do you your wealth, what, and being this channel, a lot of people are here for wealth reasons, the making more money. So what about wealth do you want to achieve? What are you actually willing to commit for the next 100 days to do so? And then on wisdom, like, what are you going to do for self-development? How are you going to make you a better person, a better person for tomorrow than you were yesterday? What are you going to do there? And start. You've got 7 days. You got 7 days from right now to figure out those three things, those three goals, basic goals. Cool. I'm going to go back to the comments, and then I will share with you my planning, my decision-making and planning tools, techniques, framework, really more of a framework as to how I come about making a choice of like, why these things? Why did I pick this for my life? Cool. All right. Let's see, Christian Gray, wife's been using coconut sugar for baking. It's pretty good. Still added sugar. Doesn't matter where the sugar comes from, still added sugar. So I won't be able to trick myself. Randall Neeson, health, wealth, and wisdom. Love it. Yes. Like I said, big fan of Ben Franklin. Like he put a lot of effort into truly changing his life from being impoverished to being wealthy and one of the wisest statesmen we've ever seen, no matter what country. So yeah, but definitely the quintessential American. Spherian says cycling. All right, so you're going to be doing some cycling for your health. So that's good. I like it. All right, so how do you put that into a 100-day challenge? Now, other people, we got other people watching. If you're getting any value from this, or if you're getting some ideas, concepts, please hit that like button. Definitely want to get the algorithm helping out the channel. So, oh, nice, got another like. Come on, let's hit another one. Or as all the cool kids say, smash that like button. I don't know. I'm not one of the cool kids by a long shot. So, all right. So let's get into the decision making. So Tim Conley's rules of decision. I know I'm a real nerd when it comes to making up these things. So rule number one, and I've taught this one to my daughter and pretty much anyone who will listen to me. But rule number one is that all decisions, if they do not kill or maim you or somebody else, they are all reversible. Every one of them. They're all reversible. Some harder to reverse than others, but they are all reversible as long as they do not cause death or, permanent maiming of you or someone else. So that gives you a pretty broad spectrum, right? That gives you a lot of leeway on being able to make decisions. So if you're worried about making any decision in your life, ask yourself, is it going to kill me? Is it, so I called this the 3 Ds. Will it cause death? Will it cause dismemberment? Or will it cause destitution? And most things in life will not get you anywhere close to those 3 things. So if you're having trouble just deciding, realize that it's reversible. You can change your mind at any point. You could start this 100-day challenge, get to day 22 and realize, this isn't really helping me out. This isn't making my life bigger or better. So I'm just not going to do it. There you go. It's reversible. Picking something for your health, your wealth, and your wisdom. You pick something that you're going to improve on. And if it's not really improving, it's not improving your life. And this isn't just quitting because it got hard, but because you can see that, well, it doesn't really, I just made the wrong choice. It's reversible. So rule number 2, past decisions may influence your decisions, but they never dictate them. Okay, that one's really important because a lot of us intellectually comprehend that the past is the past, and we don't have to be, we don't have to carry that baggage into the future. Well, we're gonna carry that baggage, but which means it'll influence our decisions, but we don't have to be dictated by it. We can make choices because they're reversible. They're all reversible, except in a handful of cases, they're all reversible. And if you get into that spot where you're like, hey, my past is not allowing me to make this decision, you're using your past as an excuse. Okay. Rule number 3, enjoy the journey even when your path is rocky. Enjoy the journey even when your path is rocky. So here's the thing. We make these choices for our life, and we invent our life. The habits that we develop, the choices that we make over the years, the way we respond to things that happen to us, because there's a lot of stuff in life that happens to us that we have no control over, but we respond to it in a certain way. And that adds up to who we are. And the thing is your life isn't really going to get easier. You get healthier. Well, you won't have like certain health problems in the future, but you'll have others because, just nature of being human. So your path will get rocky in your health at some point. You're going to have with your wealth. Just because you make more money doesn't mean all those problems that you think money's going to solve will get solved. You might be able to pay to have some of those problems go away, but you're just going to get more problems. More money, more problems, right? So and then finally in wisdom, like I'm about to turn 50 and I realize that I'm wise on certain things. I've learned a lot. I think I have really good insights in a significant part of my life, but then other areas, it's just black. It's just like, it's a void. Like there's just, and it will always be that way. So when you make a choice to grow and to grow fast, 100 days is really fast. If you're going to grow fast, and put yourself in that, you're going to hit those rocky parts faster. And so some people will quit. They'll quit their challenge. And it's why it's called a challenge, is to overcome not the real things in life, because those are all overcomable. It's the mental stuff. That's the stuff that we're truly needing to overcome. So these are my rules on decision making, to understand that just enjoy the journey. Even when it starts to get rough, just enjoy the journey. your decision is reversible, and your past does not dictate your future. All right. Now, setting goals. Part of this is mentioned in rule number 3. The journey is greater than the destination. So if you want to be a millionaire, it's not that big of a deal. And you can ask lots of millionaires. It's not a big deal. You can get there, and then it's like, maybe I go get another million. Maybe I go do something else. Getting to your destination, your goal, is almost always a letdown. I used to be a rock climber. So probably one of the reasons why I have to do a lot of mobility work now is that I stopped being a rock climber because I fell off a mountain. But back then I'd climb, and the destination, like people thought, oh, it's getting to the top, it's getting to the peak. And the reality is climbers don't climb for the peak. They get up there and they contemplate the journey when they get there. That's what climbing does. And that's when you can understand that the act of doing is far better than what you get after you've accomplished it. So the journey is greater than the destination. That's why I'm not a big believer in SMART goals. And I always forget because I'm not a big believer in them, I always forget what the acronym stands for. So I will look it up so that I am not a complete idiot. So SMART goals, let's see. Come on, I just want someone to give me the definition. Wikipedia right there. Is that it? SMART. Specific, measurable, assignable, or actionable, realistic, related. Well, 100-day time related, right? Having a 100-day challenge is time related, but I do it more within 100 days. Because I said, what did I say? I was saying improve my health, improve my well things. Like I pick most of the goals that I have in my life are processes. They are a way of being. Those are the things that I'm always after, because if they're worth going after, they're worth doing forever. Whereas a SMART goal is like, we're going to achieve it and be done with it within that time. So 100 days is just to give me a structure in which to put this process, because hopefully at the end of 100 days, it's habit. That's what we're really going for, is at the end of 100 days, the things that we've picked for ourselves are habits and not an achievement. So I'm, like I said, I'm not a big believer in SMART goals. And the reason is that the people that do well with SMART goals tend to be like the A-type personalities. If you see a lot of the people who say, oh, I do these SMART goals and I do really well with them, and most of them are like A-type people that they're going to achieve a goal no matter what, whether they make them SMART or not. Whether they follow that framework, they're still going to do it because that's just how they're wired. But me, I'm process oriented. And if you've ever read, what's his name? From Scott Adams. If you've ever read Scott Adams, and he talks about his process, using processes instead of goals and such. Because I functioned off of this for a long time, and then I read, there's another crazy guy out there who does something very similar. I don't remember the name of the book. Something about winning without really trying, or winning failing and winning. I can't remember the title because it's been for a long time, but you can check that out. But he's got a really great keynote presentation on that very idea. I think it was that he did at Stanford. I think that's where he gave the talk, and that's a great summation if you don't want to have to read a whole book. All right, let's see. Then, okay, so SMART goals. if you're a fan of SMART goals and they work for you, keep doing them. If you have been struggling to achieve goals in your life, which I did most of my youth, I tried to do the whole set a goal and use affirmations and all that stuff. Well, a lot of that stuff required willpower. And then I realized that the things that really mattered in my life after I achieved goals, after I achieved making a lot of money, after I achieved, buying fancy cars, after I achieved all that stuff, they weren't fulfilling. And so back in 2008, I started towards a path of minimalism. I started on a path of just getting rid of a lot of things in my life so I could focus on what really mattered. And I learned that develop a process and follow that process, I will achieve far more than I ever would have had I set a goal. Because I did those with the BHAG, the bold, hairy, audacious goal. Like most people don't do those. Most people get afraid of them. A few people are wired, like Tim Ferriss, who tends to do these and tells people goal that like scares you and stuff, like moonshots and things. But most people aren't wired, or at least have the a toolbox necessary to complete something like that. And in Tim Ferriss is one of those A-type people. Like he's going to set a goal and he's going to achieve it no matter what framework he puts it in. And I would say that if you've struggled with goals in your life, like I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this other thing, focus on setting up a process and putting it within a structure and altering your environment so that you can achieve what you really want from it. Cool. Hopefully that makes sense. And if it doesn't, ask questions, because I definitely want to answer that, because that one's a really big part of why I've achieved what I've achieved. So then the last is planning. How to if the stuff you do in your business, and when you want to do planning for your clients, don't overthink it. Everybody does. Everybody overthinks their marketing plan. Everybody overthinks everything. Put your process inside of a structure. So my structure is 100 days. I'm going to focus on this goal for 100 days. Cool. That's what I'm going to do. And then after that, I'll reevaluate for maybe another 100 days. I'll reevaluate where I'm at and to see if these processes are actually getting me what I perceived I would get. And that's the main thing you got to focus on. So if you want to make a marketing plan for your business, well, then set a structure, set a time limit. That's why I think like Scrum got invented, and a few other management processes got invented where you were doing sprints. Everything was tied to, like, say 6 weeks or even 3 weeks or 2 weeks, where you only do these sprints because you learn a lot by doing the thing. If you're trying to plan out your marketing campaign, if you're trying to plan out what you're going to do for a client, get the overall idea down and then stick it inside of a timed structure. 100 days, 6 weeks, 1 week, and just start taking action on trying to fulfill that plan, like the concept, the conceptualization that you have. Try to fulfill it. Okay, that you're gonna work towards that. And then as you're learning each day, as you're learning, you then inform your tomorrow's decisions, and then inform the decisions for the day after that. And then you start getting into the habit of it. And then you can start looking further afield. You can start looking a month ahead and go, I think I'll be doing this in a month. I think I'll be doing this in 3 months. You'll start being able to take something that you had very little experience with and actually be able to predict what you're going to do the more often you do it. All right. Hopefully all that made sense. That's my framework. That's how I came up with where I'm at and why I picked what I'm picking for my 100-day challenge. And let's just jump over here into the comments to see if any of that was helpful. And if you didn't find it helpful, if you disagree with me, comment. If you got questions, ask me questions. All right. Randall Neeson, yeah, not a huge fan of SMART goals as well. They have their place. Even with people who don't do well with SMART goals, have a place for like really short term. Like, I'm going to get X done by in 2 weeks or something, like something that short. But if your SMART goal is I'm going to accomplish something in a year, probably not going to happen, because there's so much you don't know between now and a year out that it's almost impossible. Like, I didn't set like, oh, I'm going to achieve a particular weight. I'm going to achieve a particular body fat or a particular level of mobility, because I have no idea. I literally have no idea what I'm capable of. So I'll stick myself into a process that challenges me every single day, so that if I find on a day that I did some mobility work and it didn't feel challenging, well, then I know tomorrow, the day afterwards, I know that I would have to up my game. I'd have to push the envelope a little, right? And that's what I've found has worked far better for longer term goals, and definitely for lifestyle goals like weight loss and fitness and things like that. Those are lifestyle things, and you hear that from the fitness industry and the health industry, where they say, it's a lifestyle change, it's a lifestyle choice, right? And it is, but you need a lifestyle process, and that way you can just follow it and continually testing the boundaries on it, because if you do that, you'll achieve far more than saying, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do this other thing. For most people, that is a better way towards success. Let's see. So let's see, Christian, interesting. I don't believe I've never been a goal person, more of a create your own flow guy. I'm not sure what that means, because you got the whole thinking about that. I'm not sure what you mean. Out for presidents. Hi, Tim. How do you choose which businesses you should get into? Me, I'll go with what I've done. One, fall into it, where I stumbled upon. I was in architecture school, and I'd been messing around with the internet, but then the internet became graphical, and it captivated my attention. I thought I was going to be a designer for like real world stuff, and then the internet really captured my attention, and so I just started teaching myself HTML and how to hand code a website, and then it just each step that I took towards that of indulging my interest led me towards what a business that I started based off of an interest, and then failure hit, and I fell into being a consultant. It wasn't something that I chose. And I never grew up thinking, hey, I want to be a consultant when I grow up. Like, I fell into that, started off as consulting, built it into an agency, and then I moved, rented a home that had a swimming pool. I'd never owned a swimming pool my entire life. I knew what you did in a swimming pool, but not how to operate them. And I talked to the guy who took care of the swimming pool about his business, because I'm always interested in business. And he told me about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This sounds like too good to be true. Not a hard job, pays really well. You can build it up, and I did. So I built up a swimming pool business, and at one point it was doing like that swimming pool business. At one point was doing like $50 something thousand a month in profit. And it's all started from just seeing some dude come into my backyard who was wearing cut off jeans, jean shorts, and an old t-shirt and a ball cap. And I was just like, this guy's got it made. And so that kicked off an idea. So I just kind of fell into it. All these things that I didn't know how to do, I've always had the, I don't know how to say this. I've always had the drive to just figure it out. Like I get into stuff that I have no idea what I'm doing, like clearly no idea and shouldn't be doing. But I've always been wired to challenge myself on that. So I never tell people to do anything like that because not everyone's wired like me. But one thing that I have seen with most entrepreneurs, most people who get into a business, it's due to their domain knowledge. They knew something. Like I got into marketing and internet consulting in the beginning, like this combination, because of the experience that I had previously. So I had domain knowledge and I just applied it in a new path that fell into my lap. But other people, they do a career. They go to school, they learn how to do something, like maybe they become an engineer, decide that they don't like doing engineering. They get into a little bit of sales, start making real money, doing a combination of their technical side, the engineering and the sales side. And then they go off and start a business similar to that. And that's most people. And then the internet did something really amazing. You can make money in anything, like anything, maybe not a ton of money, but you can make money at anything on the internet now, which is amazing. It's wonderful. The internet has removed all glass ceilings. The internet has removed all gatekeepers. Like there is nothing that anyone can do to stop you from succeeding in your life because of the internet. You might have cultural problems. You might have some barriers, governmentally, depending on where you're at in the world. Like there's barriers, but they don't completely stop you. Those barriers can't completely stop you. So that's what's really beautiful about it. Russell Brunson, if anybody knows who he is, I'm not a big fan, but I just remembered it because it popped in my head. His very first thing he ever made was a video on how to make a potato gun. And he wrote an ebook and sold an ebook on how to make a potato gun. And that launched, that eventually became ClickFunnels, a very, very profitable and successful software company. That's a long journey. And how do you pick it? I don't know. Like, start with your version of a potato gun. If you have nothing, if you don't have domain knowledge somewhere, just pick something that you find remotely interesting and just start acting on it. Act on it for the next 100 days. Every day, do something towards that one thing, and you'll be surprised at what you have at the end. I have a video on this channel that is how to be an expert in 90 days. Like if you're trying to figure out what kind of business you want to be in, focus on developing some form of expertise for the next 90 to 100 days, and your business will form out of that. You'll get an insight. It's easier to choose once you're acting upon it, and that's why process is so important to me. Hopefully that was helpful, and that was for Out for Presidents. All right, let's see. Geek One, how do you approach focusing on tasks? You're asking somebody with ADD. How do I focus on tasks? My daughter asked me that question. It's like she grew up with me. Like, how do you even get somebody who's can't focus to tell you how to focus on tasks? I don't know. Sorry, I don't. Like, I don't focus. I jump from thing to thing to thing to thing, but I've developed an environment that allows me to accomplish certain things. And then every so often, I get these periods of manic behavior where I focus, manic's not the right word, semi-obsessive, where where I'll get into something and that's it. And I'll just get into a flow and I'll just achieve it. That's not very helpful. Like, that's not good advice. So Focus again is more about environment. If you have the internet on your computer, and you're trying to do something on your computer, but you have that temptation of, checking email, checking Slack, checking something. If you get your phone and it's there, and you're having a hard time focusing, well, get rid of the distractions. That's what I have to do with the way my brain works, is that I have to, if I try to focus, if I need something accomplished, I just don't allow anything else into the environment that can interfere. Like, there's literally no one else in the house, but the door right there, I should keep my finger in, the door right there is shut. Why? I don't know. Just habit of always having fewer and fewer distractions around me. That allows me to overcome a brain that likes to jump around. And in an age where I've got all the toys, I got all the electronic toys, all the electronic temptations, you have to control your environment. Get those Oreos, those electronic Oreos out of your life. Get those other distractions out of your life. Let's see. Sferen. So, for example, a wealth 100-day challenge. Send 10 cold emails every day, or send 15 emails 5 days a week. Feedback. Daily. Find something you can do every single day. It could be 10. It could be 15. Literally, the number doesn't matter. It could be 1. Dan Kennedy, old school tapes and stuff of Dan Kennedy, wrote, most people may know him from his No BS series of books. He would always say that through his whole career, every single day, without missing a single day, he would do something that would lead him towards future business. So if he hadn't stayed in touch with somebody for a while, he would write a handwritten note and have his assistant mail it. He would find a newspaper clipping that he knew someone would be interested in, cut it out, put a little note on it, have his assistant send it off. He did something every single day, and it was just a process. He just didn't even think about it anymore. What was he going to do to reach out and get business? It didn't really matter. He would do something every single day, and that was his process. It wasn't like, oh, he was sending emails, especially way back then when there weren't any emails, but it wasn't like he had to do a particular kind of thing. He just knew that he had to do something for creating business. Right? So for me, like when I said 100 days and like, what am I going to do for wealth? The random number popped in my head, 100,000, 100 days, 1,000, the equivalent of $1,000 a day. It's not a crazy goal by any means. Okay, not to be a jerk, but for me, it's not a crazy goal to achieve that in 100 days. But I want to do it in something that I'm not currently making money at. And that's a program that I've done in the past, but a program specifically for agencies to do the kind of business that I do, work the kind of hours that I work, make the kind of money that I make. Those kind of things. And my Facebook group is called Nimble. I changed the name from The Forge to Nimble because that's the kind of business that I run. And it's very fulfilling for me. And so I'm going to find 20 students that, maybe 20 students that fit into that space. So that's the idea that it's just random. It doesn't matter. What matters is in that wealth goal that I'm doing something every day for 100 days to achieve that outcome. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, let's get some more water. Let's see, I need to scroll back up. Okay, Randall Neeson, do you find that having goals applies pressure that does more damage than good if the goal's not reached? I think so, because if we go back to Rob McDonald when he asked about imposter syndrome, if you already feel like an imposter and then you fail at the thing that you felt like you were an imposter at, well, you just reinforced that wiring. So that's why big, hairy, audacious goals don't work for most people, because they've not built up enough smaller successes to be able to achieve a bigger success. Like, people point to Elon Musk and they're like, look, he's doing these moonshots. He's going to go to Mars. He's, done Tesla and solar. What's the solar company that Tesla bought? It went away, but he started that, and SpaceX, and before that it was PayPal, but before that he had small successes. He had small vision. Even entering into PayPal, his vision wasn't really that big. Sure, the company got big and made him a fortune that he plowed into his big ideas, but had he not had those smaller successes in the past, he probably wouldn't be doing moonshot ideas today. So there is something to it, like building up and having a process that makes you stronger every day is far better than trying to aim at becoming like super strong. That and I would say for most people, there are some people wired differently. I just don't think there are a majority of people. I think there are a small number of people, and those are the same people who write books about goals and get everybody convinced that they have to do something crazy for a goal. I don't think most people should, because they'll have better success if they, set goals that that make sense for them, and set life-changing processes as opposed to goals. All right. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It's fair. And I've seen a few pool businesses for sale. The margins look pretty good indeed. They are. On the surface, the margins look pretty good. When you really get into the actual business of a swimming pool company, and I'm talking not building them. Building's a different ballgame. But I had I started off with service, like weekly service, having pool cleaning and things like that. Immediately got into repairing equipment, so you can make a lot of money repairing equipment. I'm talking, you can make the same kind of money that plumbers make and all that doing that. So you can make probably, if you're working really hard repairing pools, especially being in Arizona, Southern California, Florida, like you could literally make $200,000 a year working full time by yourself doing swimming pools. But then I added repairs. I moved into remodels because I learned about contractors, how to hire contractors and get into remodeling. And that just kept building the business bigger and bigger and bigger. Got into a warranty work. That was a mistake, but warranty work seemed like a great idea to always have repair work coming in. Turned out to not be that cool, but there's a ton of opportunity inside that business. But when there's a downturn in the economy, there's a downturn in your business. Like, it just happens. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's one of the reasons that I'm not too keen on it. Let's see. Out for presidents. Thanks for the detailed answer. I appreciate it. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming on and asking questions and participating. Makes this a lot more fun. Let's see. I'm going to have to cut this down. I forgot to bring my laptop charger, and I'm at 28%. So we're going to have to round this up. Wow, an hour and 9 minutes already. Rob McDonald, really helpful. Thanks. Geek One, thanks, Tim and Sven. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Anything else? Any other questions? And I don't think so. Let's see. So Christian Gray. So as someone else with ADD, I find I thrive best in controlled chaos where others seem to lock up trying to juggle multiple tasks. Do you experience this as well? Yeah, I find that chaos, certain kinds of chaos in my life actually make me better. If it's too structured, too if there's not something unexpected possible, if there's no uncertainty, then my brain just kind of goes looking for it elsewhere. Like it gives, when I was young, that turned into really bad behavior, a lot of not cool things. And so then I learned that I could channel all that chaos into something productive and something helpful to myself and my friends and my family and my community. So yeah, you just got to find like how you fit in the world and how you work best, and what environment is conducive to that. So yeah, but then like other things that I find I don't understand how anyone can do is like work in a coffee shop like that. My brain, I'm like, I'm watching everybody and it just, the sounds and all the stuff going on, and I can't work. Like it's like overload. So I like working by myself, but I also like variety and other things to be able to keep me sharp. So yeah, you just got to find your particular path. Randall said, just do something to generate business every day. Quoting me, I've been a master of overthinking. Listening to you, I'm understanding it's actually just doing and adjust as you go. Yeah, do something small. If you find like you've got to have multiple steps happening before you can get something else in your life, you're overthinking it. Just start really small. Start with one day. 100-day challenge starts with day one, right? And you just get through day one, and then you get through day two, and you keep doing that until, well, you've learned something. You may learn something at day 5, or you may not learn anything until day 50, but you will learn something in the process of just doing every single day towards your goal. Even if it's something small towards your goal, you will learn something. So, all right. We're getting to the end. We're wrapping this up. Sfaren, you've given great value, Tim. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for participating, and I really appreciate it. And for those who are still watching, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not, and definitely share any of my videos, especially share them on LinkedIn. That would do me a massive solid if you would go onto LinkedIn, share your favorite video, tag me in it. I'll comment. It'll be awesome because it helps me out. And I will hopefully help you out in the process of you helping me out. So cool. Please hit that like button because we're only at 10 likes. Oh man, I'm crushed. Just 10. Come on. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Rob McDonald puts in Scott Adams, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. That's the name of the book. And Tiago, hey Tiago, how you doing? Coming in from Portugal. So the legendary Tim, nice to see you. Great having you here. Can't wait to have you back on the show sometime. See how you're doing. Randall Neeson, 100-day challenge starts with day 1. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate you. Looking forward to joining your Facebook group. Yeah, I'll be posting about that pretty soon. Going to spend some time this weekend working on getting everything set back up because I've just been heads down working on contractor dynamics and some other things, along with remodeling a house and managing contractors. So it's been a thing. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for asking great questions and participating. And please follow along, be a part of the 100-day challenge. And I know I should have like a email opt-in, all this stuff. I don't, but just keep tuned into the channel, and we will be progressing over these next 100 days. Ping me, let me know. Comment on the in the community tab inside my channel. A comment on that for this particular show. Comment about how you're going to, if you're going to participate in the 100-day challenge, and what 3 things, health, wealth, and wisdom, that you're going to work on. Cool. All right. Thank you all for coming, and we are out of here. Goodbye, everybody. And I'll talk to you and see you in the next video.